What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Now, today we're going to talk about my top storyline for the WNBA's 2025 rookie class. But before we do that, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, comment, tell anyone about the show. Trying to get the ratings up a little bit, just a little bit. But like I said, today we're going to talk about the top storyline for the WNBA's 2025 rookie class. And ladies and gentlemen, I think it's a good one. We're not going to hem and haw. We're going to get straight to it, right? The top storyline. Paige Bueckers. Is she better than Caitlin Clark? Still. Now, I say still. You guys might be wondering why. Because Paige is just now entering the WNBA. Caitlin, well, we've seen Caitlin. She has got a bucket. I'll give you that. Like, she been hooping. We're going to keep her right here. You know what I'm saying? Give her a little notoriety right there. But we also got to keep in mind, too, because, like, again, face of the league, some people, casual fans call it, MVP consideration. We hear all that. Help get more viewership for the WNBA. Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark. You all need to focus on this. Now, I say all this, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a little bit of history lesson that we got to talk about, right? And with regards to Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers, we do have a little bit of high school situations, right? Like, they both were in the same high school class. So when you see Caitlin Clark's high school stats, yes, the junior senior year weren't really recorded for whatever reason. These are pretty good, right? Paige Bueckers, you see, they're pretty good, right? Like, so Caitlin has 15 points her freshman year, 27 points her sophomore year. Cool. She's hooping. Paige, she never dropped below 20 points a game. 19.9, we round up around here. So she never dropped below 20 points a game in high school. She was also rated the number one player in high school. And again, I said they were in the same class. Caitlin Clark was rated lower than fourth. That's behind Angel Reese and Cameron Brink, okay? So that's what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. So, again, there is a little bit of a history between Caitlin and Paige. Let's even go to college where, well, college we can talk about Paige not being healthy. And again, on this wing squad, I think she's going to do well. But health was the main reason why she won't the number one pick last year, if I'm being honest with you. Like, she should have gotten selected higher than Caitlin Clark, but because of the injuries, you can't pick Paige Bueckers over Caitlin Clark. I hear it. Let's not forget, too, Paige Bueckers did win Player of the Year as a freshman. That's pretty decent. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a wonderful player in Paige Bueckers that y'all need to pay attention to, because we have connections to a Caitlin Clark. Like, we got to figure out if Caitlin Clark succeeds this next year, right? That puts pressure on Paige. So let's pay attention to that, because if Caitlin's doing well, people are going to say, oh, see, told you Paige can't do what Caitlin's doing. They're going to focus on the stats. Then they're going to say, see, Caitlin wins. Paige didn't. Context does matter, though. Now, let's flip this, though. Let's say if Caitlin Clark starts to fail, right? The eyes will now start to look towards Paige Bueckers real quick. Like, I think right now, point in time, ladies and gentlemen, we can actually make the case that it's fair to say Caitlin Clark is like the WNBA's darling, right? I think that's fair. Paige, she cool with everybody. Like, she might get invited to the cookout a little quicker than Caitlin do. That's all I'm saying. But I think Paige is viewed a little bit differently, not as the WNBA's darling. What happens if that starts to change? What happens if that notion starts to change a little bit? Let's also talk about the development of Paige, right? versus Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark had to go up against someone like a Dejanay Carrington. Keep in mind, Paige Bueckers is actually teammates with someone like a Dejanay Carrington. So you get to practice against Dejanay's defense on a consistent basis. I like to assume she's going to be cool. Also, I think in terms of dealing with pressure, Paige does better. That's just my personal opinion. But we're going to find out too, though. Because, again, if she's turning the ball over the way Caitlin was, I can't really talk too badly about Caitlin, right? I got to say that same energy for Paige Bueckers. But, again, the development of Paige, you do want to know. Because I'm sure people will talk about what I just said. Oh, well, Caitlin had Dejanay as an opponent. All right, cool. Well, suck it up. Because Caitlin also had an Aaliyah Boston. Paige don't. Everybody's going to have pros and cons to their roster. So I'm looking forward to the excuses for the Caitlin Clark stands. Let's also talk about, too, the initial supporting cast, like I just mentioned. Paige may feel obligated to defer to her teammates a little bit more so. Caitlin had Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Boston, second year. Kelsey Mitchell, good player, not revered as the star. They drafted Caitlin. Caitlin Clark, number 1. You gotta assume she got the green light to do whatever she wants within reason. Paige might not have that same level of leash, because again, you do have an Arike Ogunbowale. You might want to defer to her a little bit more than a Kelsey Mitchell or an Aaliyah Boston. And that's just being brutally honest. Arike Ogunbowale is still considered one of the stars in the WNBA. So why not defer to her sometimes? That's logical. Would you not? I would. Now, I try to get I try to get a bucket myself too, but I also want to make sure that I'm deferring when I need to. Paige might have to run through that. Caitlin didn't have to as much. But again, people aren't going to care about that aspect. We're going to just talk about stats. End of the day. Then let's also talk about, too, the situation. Well, didn't Caitlin have a future running mate? Let's say it doesn't work out with Kelsey Mitchell. She still has Aaliyah Boston to play with. They're back-to-back number 1 picks. They're bound to get to the NBA Finals at minimum within their career. You keep that. Paige, we're still trying to figure that out. So maybe, at least based off my expectations, I'm assuming they have enough to get and just miss the playoff. Just miss the playoffs. So let's see who they can potentially get. But we got to pair her up with somebody. So again, ladies and gentlemen, when I'm talking about the top storyline for the WNBA's season, it's got to be what we've been talking about this entire time. Is Caitlin Clark worse than Paige Bueckers? And yes, I said, is Caitlin Clark worse than Paige Bueckers? Said it just like that. And keep in mind, too, there's a couple more connections than just these two history, right? Hell, look at the jersey I got on. This is Natasha Howard's jersey. Shout out, Tosh, right? She's currently on Caitlin Clark's team. So we definitely got to pay attention because, again, her supporting cast is top notch. But what happens if the Indiana Fever start losing to the Dallas Wings? What happens? They've been perceived as the better team coming into the season. A lot of pressure is on Caitlin Clark. And for me, I'm paying attention to the latter part of the game, to the later games between Paige and Caitlin. That's when I'm going to really start judging the two. Because now Paige has gotten her feet wet with the WNBA. Caitlin should have a little bit more cohesion with her team, a little bit more time to play with her team. Plus, you get a full off season with your team. Let's see what these teams look like. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this is the top storyline for the WNBA's rookie class for the 2025 season. And again, if you don't believe me, that's cool. I'm telling y'all right now, there's no other storyline that beats this. Because this also talks about the future of the WNBA. If you don't think these two girls are going to be talked about for for at least the next 5-10 years, you're crazy. We're going to be talking about them in the Olympic Games. So moments like this are going to be talked about, are going to be remembered. So we got to start paying attention to it now. So yes, this is the top storyline for the WNBA's 2025 season. I don't care what y'all say. Argue with your mom. But I am curious, though, if y'all have a difference. So definitely comment your thoughts below. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all the time I have for the episode. So I definitely appreciate y'all for listening. Make sure y'all look at the WNBA season. It is coming on very, very soon. In fact, May 16th, I believe, is the date that we're talking about. So again, ladies and gentlemen, hope y'all pay attention to that date. Tune in, and then continue to tune into the show. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Get a Bucket. Hope you all are having a good one. Take care.